Hey everybody, it's Pastor Jonathan. Thanks so much for taking this time to watch a short video about Easter. We are going to have over 2,000 people here at Lakeview, and so we really appreciate you taking this little bit of time to prepare mentally for what's coming up. First thing, guests are coming. Guests are coming, and we want to all be on the welcome team. When you see that sticker of a child who's there for the first time, let's make sure we're smiling. Let's make sure you're using eye contact, looking people directly in their eye, using their names, even if you have to whoop, glance at the sticker, whoop, find that name, call them by their names. It makes it personal. And when they're picking up at the end, tell that parent something positive. Hey, today was a great day. Your child, ... Give them something to smile about. We want every guest to feel like, man, this could really be something that my family could get used to. I think we would like coming to this church. And you have a big role in that because you're welcoming kids. You are the last thing they see as they leave the classroom or as they leave the gym. So be on your game and think about new guests. Let's make it easy for them to say yes to whatever Jesus has for them that weekend, okay? You will likely be working with somebody in your area that hasn't been there before. Maybe it is a new volunteer. Maybe it is a parent that's just stepping in for that one time in your classroom. Hey, we want to make this fun and easy for them as well. There's a quote that goes like this: do what only you can do. Do what only you can do. And the idea behind that quote is just that there's lots of things you could be doing, but delegate. Give away things that somebody else could take care of. Somebody else can pour the snacks. Somebody else can make sure that that lonely child is having a good time. You can delegate simple things. Hey, could you please pass out these pencils, these crayons? Hey, would you mind going and sitting by that person? They look like they're having a hard time today. Delegate as much as you can so that you can be free to do the things that really only a kids team member knows how to do. Maybe other people aren't familiar with the curriculum or they don't know how to run the game from the stage. Okay, you can do that. But if there's something else that you could delegate, let's do that. So think about something specific and then ask that volunteer for help. Say, hey, would you mind going over to the game room and observing the air hockey table? Sometimes those kids get a little out of control. Could you do that for me? That's a specific question. It's easy for a person to be like, oh yeah, I could do that. They know what's expected of them and then they can go and do it right away. Okay, so be specific. Ask people if they can help you. People want to say yes. They signed up for this. They just oftentimes don't know what to do. So take initiative. Ask them to help you with whatever you're doing and they'll have a win. By the end of the day, they'll feel thanked, they'll feel affirmed, and they will see that God has a way that they could be used into blessing the next generation. So, what are we going to do for fun on Easter? Big question. We do want this to be a fun experience. The tension that we always hold is we don't want it to be just about sugar or just about eggs because we really have a spiritual message that we're trying to convey to the kids. So, there will be fun elements, but they might be different than what you've done at other churches or maybe in years past. So for instance, for 0 to 2s, there really is no significant difference in what they're going to experience that day. They might get a sticker when they leave, but we're not sending them home with gobs of candy. The 3 to 5-year-olds, our preschoolers, they will receive at the end a bag that has a couple of eggs in it, which do have some stickers, a few sweets. Again, we're trying to give that at the end so that parents have control over how much sugar their child will consume or when their child will consume that. So please hold those bags for the very end. There will be fun preschool activities, fun games that we'll do, and it'll be in your curriculum. But as far as the Easter eggs go or the chocolates or those kind of things, yeah, we're saving those for the end. And we're really trying to be minimalist when it comes to just dispensing a bunch of sugar. For the elementary kids, we will be doing some games that will earn them tickets, and they can exchange the tickets to get eggs when they're getting checked out. Again, we have it at checkout because we know if we just give the kids a bunch of eggs, in the middle of service, or even at the end of service, those could be all consumed before they hit the door, because they might come from a family where their parents really don't want them eating a lot of sugar. Or maybe they just know mom's not going to let me eat all these, but if I eat it now, I could have all the chocolate right now. So we will be handing those out at checkout, and there will be a little exchange that we'll do with the kids while the parents are present. So checkout is going to take a little bit longer. We need to be ready for that. Our goal, though, is to create a fun environment for kids, so that even if a kid came all by themselves and they'd never been to a church before, we want that child to feel like this was a fun experience and I want to come back. I think we can do that together on Easter. Most importantly, on Easter weekend, we want to present every family with the opportunity to respond to Christ's offer of salvation. This really is the whole point of Easter. And if you are a Christian, you already know what we're going to be doing on Easter. We are going to be presenting the gospel to folks, many of whom only come on Easter or only come on Easter and Christmas. So we'll be doing the same with our elementary kids. We are going to be presenting salvation. We are going to be communicating what Christ did and why we're celebrating in the first place. And there will be a chance for our children to respond to a salvation invitation. In preschool and nursery, there will not be a large group response or a call to the altar or anything like that. The primary reason for that is that we've seen that sometimes children who are young will respond out of a desire to please the teacher or to please their parents, which is part of their nature. It's part of how God's wired preschoolers to be. But we want to make sure a child is aware of the decision that they're making before we ask for them to do something compelling. That's not to say that preschoolers can't receive salvation or that you have to be a certain age, but we do want to look for a couple components when we're talking about salvation, and we want to make sure that the children understand. So things to understand are sin. Do I understand what sin is? That God has rules and that I've broken them. Number two, does the child understand the concept of sorry, of repentance, of being truly grieved over the fact that they've broken God's rules? God's rules are for their own good, and yet they've said, no, I want to do things my own way. So sin, sorry, Jesus. Do they understand who Jesus is? Do they understand that he died for them, that they deserved a punishment, and that Jesus took that punishment for them? So you got sin, sorry, Jesus' sacrifice. Trust is something I look for. Does the child want to put their trust in Jesus as a way of being saved, instead of thinking that they have to be good or they have to do all these good things to earn salvation? A very common mistake that kids and adults make alike is mixing those up. So we want them to be clear, like, hey, we're putting our trust in Jesus. Jesus made a way for us to go to heaven. I can't get to heaven on my own. Only Jesus, but he has a way for you to go. We just have to ask. And then the fifth thing that I look for with kids is that decision, that repentance, where I turn around and I go the other way and I say, I want to follow Jesus. And that desire to follow Jesus, that really marks the beginning of discipleship for a child. So sin, sorry, Jesus' sacrifice, trust, and then a decision to follow. Those are 5 key elements that you could lead any child in, whether you're in a small group. You might be playing with a child in the game room. Maybe you noticed that they were responding to some of the things that were said in the video or from the stage. You can initiate that, and whatever advancement a child makes in their spiritual journey, whether they're just coming to understand something new about salvation that they didn't know before, or maybe it's their first time making an independent decision of faith, whatever we do to bring a child closer to Jesus, that is a win. And if you have any kind of conversation with a child, or you pray with a child who's responded, let's say in elementary, to the front, and you're praying with them because they want to become a Christian, we want to get that child's name. It's really important for us to communicate and work with the parents to really help them process what has happened with their child and help that child begin to grow spiritually. So please, 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 look at the child's tag, get their name, write it down, and make sure that your coach knows, hey, we had a salvation experience with so-and-so. And then our team will follow up with the parents that week so that we can celebrate and then give them some next steps on how to help their child grow spiritually. Thanks so much for being a part of the kids team. You make it possible for us to offer hope to families, to offer freedom this Easter. If it wasn't for you, we could not pull off church. So thank you, and may God use you in powerful ways this Easter.